guys, it's Zach and Steve again from moveSKILL.com. Today we're going to be talking about the pistol. The pistol is a strength and skill movement, and it's something I want you to really only look at as a strength and skill movement. Occasionally we'll see these thrown into workouts, and that's a pretty silly thing to do. There's a lot of risk in this movement, especially if you're not ready for it, and when fatigue sets in, you're pretty much done. So what I want you to do is take this kind of slow approach that we're going to go through today to refining this movement to make sure you're doing it as well as you possibly can. So we have 3 different tools here that we're going to use together or in various combinations to help you get a pistol, help you feel what a pistol is actually like. So the major setbacks most people have are one, strength. So the first thing you need to be doing is you need to be making sure that your squat, your back squat is up to snuff. We're talking probably about the range of 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 times body weight for a back squat. You also need to make sure that you have a good range of motion. If you're not able to squat to, I'd say, below parallel or at least closer to full depth, then you're also going to run into some issues. Dorsiflexion, or the ability to flex the ankle, is a huge piece that holds people back, and that's what we're actually going to talk about first. So the first thing you can do to help yourself out is if you have a pair of lifting shoes, those help a lot for some folks, or you can just stack yourself up on some sort of elevation. So you can see right now, Steve's put his heel up, and actually, can you face this way? So he's got his heel up on this platform, and this is going to give him more ability to dorsiflex through the ankle, which will help him squat a little bit better. So this might be all you need. So you can go ahead and give this a try. He's going to pick his opposite leg up, arms in front, and he's going to squat nice controlled, slow as he can. Move that out of the way for you. And back up. Notice how he didn't plummet to the bottom. At no point did he bounce out of the movement. And this is something we see a lot. People aren't strong at the bottom, so they get kind of, I'd say, about parallel. They relax, they bounce through that position, the knee dumps in, and it's a pretty horrifying thing to watch. So make sure you can do it with control. Sometimes you might just be doing the negative, right? You might go all the way to the bottom. You want to show one? Does a negative to the bottom, and then from here he gets out whatever way he can. He can roll out, he can drop the other foot. Okay? So try that. If that still doesn't help you, the next thing we can do is we can add a counterbalance. So this is a 5 kilo plate. This is probably 5'10" is about as much as you would need. Too much weight's actually gonna make this a little bit harder than it needs to. He's gonna hold the weight out in front, and this is gonna help him from falling backwards. So heel elevation and counterweight is gonna make it a little bit easier. Still going down with control, still coming up with control. Perfect. You can also try this with just using the counterbalance. That's also a good option, but I recommend the heel elevation as well. The other piece that holds a lot of people back is the ability to get the other leg out of the way. This ability to hold your leg up straight. I've seen people grab onto their toe and hold it. That can work. But something that's nice if you just want to work on the squat and you're not so concerned about that is elevating the squatting leg. Just to let you know, what's holding that leg up is your hip flexor, and it's probably fighting against your super tight hamstring. So if that's your issue, like most people, your hamstrings are probably too tight. So what I'm going to have Steve do now is stand at an elevation, and you'll see from the front here that he doesn't have to lift that passive leg as high, and he can focus more on the squat. Very nice. You can do this with a heel elevated, with the counterweight, right? You can add all 3, you can take pieces apart. I'd really recommend not doing this onto a box if you can help it, but for some folks it actually works. We don't have one right here, but it works to have a box behind you that you lower yourself to. The reason I recommend trying it without that is that generally gets people to end up sitting down at the bottom of the movement and relax. If you do use a box to squat onto, when you come down to that position, just touch the box gently and drive back out. What we don't want to get in the habit of is deloading at the bottom. So pick and choose these tools, mess around with this, but again, this is a skill movement. One of the big things we want to avoid, and I'll try and have you fake this as best you can, is the knee dropping in. Okay, so do your best to not let this happen. From the front, you'll see this. As he squats, his arch is going to collapse and the knee caves in. You'll see his whole body shift. All right, don't even come out of that. that's a really horrible position. So medial glutes given up, the knees diving in, your arches collapse, and now you're pushing off a really unstable knee. And this is an issue, just like it's an issue when our knees come in when we squat normally. So if that's going on for you, there's a few other things you need to work on in the meantime. The bottom of pistol hold is something that's useful, where you're just lowering yourself to the bottom, working on keeping the knee out and holding this position, or just doing some more squatting and making sure your knees are staying out. Anything else you can think to add?
No, you nailed it.
All right, guys. So take this slow, practice your reps with control. As soon as fatigue sets in, give yourself a rest or stop and do something else. I'm Zach, Steve, moveSKILL.com. Have a good one.